his head to the right or the left without once raising his eyes to the sky or lowering them to the ground, but looking straight before him with savage resolution. He muttered not one word, nor relaxed a muscle until he reached his own house door. He opened it softly with a key, strode lightly up the stairs, and entering his room, he double-locked the door and drew back the curtain of the bed. The girl was lying, half-dressed, on the bed. He had roused her from her sleep, for she raised herself, and with a hurried and startled look, "Get up!" "It's you, Bill." "Get up!" There was a candle burning, but he drew it from the candlestick and hurled it under the grate. Seeing the faint light of early day without, the girl rose to undraw the window curtain. "Let it be, there's light enough for what I've got to do." "Bill, why do you look at me like that?" The robber regarded her for a few seconds with dilated nostril and heaving breast, and then, grabbing her by the head and the throat, dragged her into the middle of the room, and looking once towards the door, placed his heavy hand upon her mouth. "Bill, Bill, I won't scream or cry. Not once. Hear me. Speak to me. Tell me what I've done." "You are watched tonight, you she-devil. Every word you said was heard." Then if every word I said was heard, it was heard that I spared you," clinging to him. "Bill, dear Bill, spare me as I spared you. You cannot have the heart to kill me. Oh, think of all I've given up. Only this one night for you. Bill, Bill, for dear God's sake, for your own, for mine, stop. I've been true to you. Upon my guilty soul I have." She held him. "The gentleman and that dear lady told me tonight of a home in some foreign place, a place where I could end my days in solitude and peace. Oh, Bill, let me see them again. Beg them on my knees to show the same mercy to you. Let us both leave this dreadful place and far apart lead better lives and forget how we have lived, except in prayers, and never see each other no more. It's never too late to repent. They told me so. I feel it now. And we must have time. We must have a little time." The housebreaker freed one arm and grabbed his pistol. The certainty of immediate detection if he fired flashed across his mind, and he beat it twice upon the upturned face that almost touched his own. She staggered and fell. Raising herself on her knees, nearly blinded by blood, she drew from her bosom a white handkerchief, Rose Malley's handkerchief, and holding it up in her folded hands, breathed one prayer for mercy. It was a ghastly figure to look upon. The murderer staggered backwards to the wall, shutting out the sight with his hand, seized a heavy club and struck her down. The bright sun burst upon the crowded city in clear and radiant glory. Through costly colored glass and paper-mended window, through cathedral dome and rotten crevice, it shed its equal ray. It lighted up the room where the murdered woman lay. It did. He tried to shut it out, but it would stream in. If the sight had been a ghastly one in dull morning, what was it now? In all that brilliant light, he had not moved. He was afraid to stir. There had been a moan, an emotion of the hand. And with terror added to rage, he had struck and struck again. Once, he threw a rug over it. But it was worse to fancy the eyes and imagine them moving towards him than to see them glaring upward, as if watching the bright reflection of the pool of gore that quivered and danced in the sunlight on the ceiling. He plucked the rug off again, and there, was the body mere flesh and blood, but such flesh and so much blood. He struck a light, kindled a fire, and thrust the club into it. There was hair upon the end, which blazed and shrunk into a light cinder, and caught by the air, whirled up the chimney. Even that frightened him, sturdy as he was. But he held the weapon in the fire until it broke, and then piled it on the coals to burn away and smolder into ashes. He washed himself. He cleaned his clothes. There were spots that could not be removed, but he cut the pieces out and burned them. All this time, he had never once turned his back upon the corpse. No, not for a moment. He moved backwards towards the door, watching, lest he soil his feet anew, and carrying out new evidence of the crime into the streets. He shut the door softly, locked it, took the key, and left the house.